Cuda. Hey everyone, it's Brian here from Massey's Main Entertainment. Welcome again to our album draft through the decades, a series where I team up with my good friends and fellow music enthusiasts, Sam St. John, Americana Sam, say hi.
Hello.
And then Doc, my trusted companion from the north, who will ever occasionally be kind of glancing to his right a little bit or our left to check on a score, I imagine, anyway. So
Yes.
together we're going to journey through the decades from 1960s to the 2010s. And now, so we're wrapping it up with this video. And we're drafting our top 10 albums from each one of those decades. We use a snake draft format, meaning the person who picks last in the odd number round gets to kick it off in the next round as well. Now in the 2010s, because kind of a wild time, music and otherwise, vinyl is actually making a comeback. Pop music got a little extra moody with sullen artists like Lana Del Rey, or Phoebe Bridgers, someone like that. And people were always wondering what the Lord's Royals was, a diss track or whether it was some type of generational anthem. I'm not really sure. I think it was a diss track, but one thing's for sure, it was a very interesting draft. And for me, I feel like this is going to be a very, very personal list, not geared towards so much of what was necessarily popular, but what I felt like I could go back to and listen to time and time again. So the order tonight is actually I get to pick first. That's kind of great.
There we go.
And Sam, you'll get to go second, and Doc, you'll get the back-to-back picks with the last and then the first and the second round. So any last words before we start, guys?
Personal list.
Yeah, I think it's going to be individual. I don't think we're going to overlap.
No, I don't think so either.
All right, good. So, well, with the first pick, I wanted to make sure I took this because I knew Sam was right on my heels here. So I'm going to take it right out of the gate. I'm taking Southeastern by Jason Isbell so I can make sure that I've got that. Really a great quintessential alternative country album. Isbell's one of my favorite country artists over the last, 20 years. I think he's a great songwriter. His work with the Drive-By Truckers was great, and this album is his magnum opus to date. So that's my pick. Number 2 pick goes to Sam.
Very good, very personal pick there for you. I'm gonna go. I've actually got a couple of top 10 albums in this decade. So one of which is gonna be Born and Raised by John Mayer from 2012. It was kind of his Laurel Canyon album. It has Crosby and Nash are on it.
Yep.
Don Was is all over it. I think Jim Keltner plays on it. It was a really cool creative period for Mayer. So this was from 2012, Born and Raised.
Yeah, I really like the song Something Like Olivia.
Yep, great tune.
Really good tune. Doc, you get the third pick, buddy, and the fourth pick. So what are you going with?
You know what? My third, I'm happy it works out this way for me. And this is a very personal list. And I'm going to take these 2 picks, not to block you guys, but it's my only hope to have like a top 10 that I'm going to be pretty happy with, if you want the truth. So I'm just going to do it this way. I'm taking Petty and the Heartbreakers, Hypnotic Eye.
Oh, man.
Which one is it?
Hypnotic Eye.
Oh, God, man.
Yeah.
Whew.
And that's a little rockier and Petty's got different sounds. You can have the Americana sound, you can have a little heavier rockish kind of sound. It's got that rockish kind of sound that I like too. So, and I'm gonna have the same kind of vibe when I make my next pick here too. So my back-to-back is I'm going High Hopes with Springsteen on the back end, right on the
Oh wow, yeah, that's kind of interesting. All right.
Still the classic Springsteen sound, and still got more of that rocking Eagles kind of vibe to it in some senses, or older Springsteen kind of sound to it too. So that still connects.
Yeah, I think there's some gems on that one.
There is.
It truly is. So, all right. So there we go, Sam. It's back around to you with the 5th pick overall. What do you got?
Well, didn't know Hypnotic Eye would be knocked off there, the last Heartbreakers record, but
yeah,
so it goes. Well, with Doc's list in mind there, I'm going to go ahead. I wasn't going to do this early, but I'm going to go ahead and knock off Wrecking Ball by Springsteen, 2012.
Back.
Yeah, I can't lie. That's on my list, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great album. I think that was the first new Springsteen album that I bought. It's got kind of some. I think he had just done like the Seeger sessions, like the Pete Seeger stuff. So that was a big influence. And then it has this song like "We Take Care of Our Own." Wrecking Ball was a really cool live track. And there's some folky elements, some Irish kind of elements to it. So yeah, I've got to knock that out knowing Doc is trying to make me angry.
No. Hey, listen, it's the Americana vibe of the Springsteen I wanted, or just more of the rocking kind of side. It's down to those two on those two albums, right? You're right about the influence and how it works with that Americana sound that he's got on that one too. I think. But, yeah.
Wow, excellent. All right, I got the number 6 pick. This one here I'm going to take because I'm not totally sure whether it will be taken. I'm going to go ahead and take who I think is one of the best musicians in the 21st century. That's really underrated in a lot of ways. I'm taking Jack White's Blunderbuss album, his debut when he went solo. When I first listened to that album, I listened to it on Spotify. I ended up adding every single track from it to my playlist. I mean, that doesn't happen very often. It doesn't even happen very often on REM albums for me, and I'm a huge REM fan.
Yeah.
So I was just, it's an incredible album. He's a great musician. Love Interruption is on that one too. And then, I'm Shaken and all that, that extra stuff. He's just a great musician all the way around. So I'm taking Blunderbuss with the 6th pick. This one here, I know you guys wouldn't take anyway, but I'm gonna go ahead and get it off the board. I'm going to take Radiohead's Moon-Shaped Pool with the 7th pick. It's their last album that they've released, in the 2010s before they kind of now all kind of branched off on their own a little bit. They do have a project called The Smile that it's most of the band except for Ed. I think Ed O'Brien's not a member of it. But this album is kind of interesting. Very typical Radiohead. The whole album is actually, the tracks are in alphabetical order, but it's funny. It still works. It feels like it was meant to be that way. The tracks are really great. The Numbers is my favorite track off of there. So I actually got this album above Kid A. I know everybody's big on Kid A in the 2000s. Kid A is just obscure to me, and I can't really relate to it. So that was it for me. And so we're at the 8th pick with Sam.
All right, I'm going to knock out, again, another favorite. It's actually my favorite album by this artist, and he had a long career before this, and that's John Prine's Tree of Forgiveness, his last album from 2018. Short album. It's got some great guests on it. I think Isbell is on it, Brandy Carlisle, Dan Auerbach is on this. Just a really kind of great swan song for Prine, who would pass away 2 years later. But it's just a great record, like 32 minutes long. It's short, but it's great. So that's got to be my number 3. It's got to be on my list.
That's an excellent pick. Yeah, I kind of figured that might be taken by you. I did listen to that like in the last month or so. That's really great.
Yeah,
Doc, you're up for your back-to-back again, buddy.
Well, I think
number 9.
My number 9. So my 3rd pick overall, I'm going to take. I'm going to do the Foo Fighters. This is a hit or miss for somebody on some albums, but the Foo Fighters' Sonic Highways is where I'm going. Okay. I watched this when it came out, the documentary, when they were doing the filming going through the 8 cities and stuff like this, and I thought it was a really cool concept. And there's a couple of tunes, I Am a River and Something from Nothing. There's some really cool songs on there that build up on some of this. It sounds like classic rock to me in a lot of senses too. And I think Grohl sounds great, man. It's kind of an underrated album. Like I said, it's a hit or miss in the Foo Fighter catalog, but kind of a hit with me. I like it.
That's kind of a surprise. I thought you would have taken Wasted. I was thinking you would take Wasted in Light, but that's
fine. I like this better.
Yep.
That's a little too grungy-ish almost, that other album. So
nice. All right, you got that next pick at the 10th pick overall.
Yeah, everyone's going to think I'm a bleeding heart for this one, but I don't care. So I separate my music from my political views and all that kind of stuff, and I'm sticking with it, man. Is This the Life We Really Want by Roger Waters? Would be my number 4. Yeah, bleeding hearts, whatever. I don't care. I like the music. I like the way it sounds. I've always liked the way that he's a fantastic writer. I think he's poetic, probably one of the best lyricists of all times, man. That's what I would say. And there's strong connections on some of that stuff with me. It doesn't matter what context you put it in. You can put it in any context that fits you. It's a great album. Takes poems, takes everything. Wait for Her is actually a poem, and he just made it a song, but he's just used the lyrics for it. And I think there's some beautiful stuff on this album, man. That's my take.
Nice. Very
Yeah.
good. All right. So we're back flipping back through in the fourth round. So Sam, you got the 11th pick overall.
All right, I'm going to do one that's probably closer to Brian's heart. Definitely closer to Brian's heart. I'm going to go with the second album by Lord Huron, Strange Trails.
Oh, yeah.
From 2015, which is crazy. It's 10 years old this year, but that had their big hit, The Night We Met.
Right.
Which is on a bunch of different movie soundtracks, TV soundtrack.
TV series, yeah. Yep.
And there was, I think it became really big on TikTok just a couple of years ago. Like it had a resurgence, but just great, moody, atmospheric, kind of dream poppy almost, but with more of a tinge of like rockabilly and more that kind of element to it. But it's a great album. So Strange Trails for me is my number 4.
That's really good. Yeah, that's great. It's on the list. I mean, I've run their discography now. I think the album that you had given me was the last album that I needed to listen to. So that kind of put that in perspective. I'm looking forward to their new album because I've already heard that first single that's been released, and it's great.
Yeah, I am too.
So, all right. So I got the 12th and the 13th pick. I think what I'm going to take here is I'm going to take from Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. This is the album he released. Yeah, he had a couple albums where he kind of touched upon the death of his son, but I'm taking Ghosteen, which Ghosteen is really where he kind of dives into the whole mourning process and trying to understand the loss that he had suffered. And one of the biggest tracks on there is actually a spoken word piece called Fireflies, in which he's talking about, he's not really sure what he believes in, but he knows that his son is somewhere. And then, he's learning to deal with the fact that his son is there and he's here. And it's just a really great album that's to listen to and kind of feel the things that Nick Cave has, felt during those times. I found it a very personal album. So
very good.
For the 13th pick, I'm going to kind of flip the switch a little bit and take El Camino from the Black Keys. It's my favorite album by them. I know some people would have taken Brothers maybe instead, but I think El Camino is a really solid album all the way through. It's got the gold, it's got gold on the ceiling and Little Black Submarines, which were big hits, on the pop charts. And but there are other tracks, especially on side B, that I think are just as good or maybe even superior. So I wanted to make sure that I picked up the Black Keys right here. El Camino. Sam,
very cool.
We're back to you, man, in the 5th round.
All right. Let me look. I'm going to go, again, another favorite album, close to a top 10 for me. I talk about it all the time on my channel, is Marty Stewart, Way Out West from 2017. Again, you think Marty Stewart, you think country. This is produced by Mike Campbell from the Heartbreakers. So it's got that like birdsy kind of mid-career Birds feel to it. But it's also got a little bit of that, Bakersfield, like Dwight Yoakam kind of feel.
Oh, yeah.
But also has
like Owen style.
Yeah, and it's got like the Heartbreakers sound to it as well. So it's just it's a sonic. I think it's like sonically perfect from 2017. I'd recommend it to anybody, whether you like country or not. It is like it's out there. It's cool stuff. So Way Out West 2017.
I got to add it then. I haven't listened to it.
Well, could be an album exchange album then.
Yeah, we got to think about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Doc.
Yeah.
15th pick and 16th.
I guess this is where it gets really personal. I mean, these are all personal anyway, but this is where it really gets personal for me, I guess. So, See What You Started by Continuing from Collective Soul will be my number 5.
Okay.
Happy they came back. It's a rocking kind of album, man, for Collective Soul. Confession and Contagious, and Life Without You, this Hurricane. It's got some really catchy tunes on there, man. Like I said, Collective Soul may or may not be your wheelhouse, but if it is, guitar riff driven rock and roll, not that heavy at times, a little softer at times. It's Collective Soul's right in my wheelhouse for the last 30 years. That's what I can tell you.
Yeah. Seen them in concert. They're great.
They're great. Yeah. Great show.
Yeah. All right. What's your 16th overall pick then? What's
I'm
that?
going to stick with my rock or bust, man. AC/DC's. Rock or bust.
Wow. Ooh.
it's almost old school AC/DC, and it sounds kind of weird to say that because it's always like, there's riff to it. It's bluesy, man. It's a bluesy, heavy. Angus doesn't get a lot of love for the guitar work that he does, man. He's a great guitarist. I don't know what to say, man. He's got the riffs, he's got the guitar solos, he does it all. But Malcolm had the riffs, but it's a riff-driven, heavier band. It's a rock band. There's always the blues undertone with AC/DC, man, and that's somebody that's been true to themselves for 50 years, and that's why I like them.
All right.
Yeah.
Here we go. Sam, you got the 17th overall pick in the 6th round.
All right. Let me take a look. I'm gonna go with again another old rocker, old songwriter, Paul Simon, 2011, "So Beautiful or So What," which Brian just recently listened to about a month or two ago. Yep. But for me, I think it's one of his better things since Graceland. Again, it's classic Paul Simon, world rhythms and beats, and he's taking new directions. Experiments a little bit. He has one instrumental tune on here, which is kind of the direction he went with the last album that came out a couple years ago, 7 Psalms. But just a beautiful album. It's an album about aging. I think at this time Paul Simon had just turned 70, so he was kind of in that mode of well, I've got more years behind me than in front, so he's really pondering that. So really pretty album, "So Beautiful or So What" from 2011.
Yep, I agree. I like the album. Very good. That's an excellent pick. All right, I'm stuck here in the 6th round. I get the 18th overall pick. Where am I going to go? I think I'm going to take here a band that I really like, and everybody I've ever recommended this album to has always liked it, and that's Manchester Orchestra's "A Black Mile to the Surface." I've given that on the album exchange a couple times. "A Black Mile to the Surface," obviously in reference to the distance for coal miners travel when they're going underneath the ground. That's the allusion to it. But the voice of Andy Hull in this is just absolutely haunting and amazing, and their sound is just so unique. I can't even describe it. If you just have to listen to it, it's got this very intense, ethereal, atmospheric stuff going on all the time. And, they sound like a rock band that's trying to be an orchestra. That's really what it is. And it's incredible. So I recommend it highly. "Black Mile to the Surface." Within the 7th round and 19th overall pick, I'm going to take Stephen Wilson. Brandstoffer did some solo material when he left Porcupine Tree, which was a progressive metal, rock band. And this one was called "Hand Cannot Erase," his solo album that he released. Very highly touted critically. And if you get a chance to listen to this as well, this is just amazing. I love all of his solo stuff, even the stuff where it's mostly ambient music. I think he's just an incredible musician. Right now, he's just on tour over in Europe. And I can't wait to see if he's going to do some stuff with his new album over here in the States. I would love to be able to catch his show. I think it would be definitely something to enjoy. So, Sam, we get to circle back to you, bud.
Here we go.
All right, number 7. Let's go. This again, a Sam pick here. 2011. It's the debut by The Head and the Heart. It's just self-titled indie folk band based out of Seattle, but they have Virginia roots. They have 2 members that call Virginia home in Richmond. But again, they were kind of in that era in the early 2010s, like with Mumford & Sons and the Lumineers, that were kind of revitalizing that acoustic kind of stuff. Big hit, "Rivers and Roads," their biggest song is on this album. But some really good stuff on here. So I had to put it on there for me.
Yeah, that's a good album. Yep, I like that one. I think you gave that to me or suggested it to me at one point, and I had listened.
Probably, maybe in another video.
We got to know each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Stock. Here you go, back to back, buddy. 21st and 22nd overall.
So my number 7, you didn't see this one coming. I'll tell you this. So I can thank my brother-in-law. My nephew got me into it during COVID. I went back and did some listening to it. Aaron and the VC community loves these guys. But I have Clutch. A Book of Bad Decisions. That's my album, man. When I first heard them, they're catchy, man. It's a heavier rock band and stuff like that. It's almost like a raspy Paul Rogers voice singing a little heavier rock and stuff like that. And sometimes it gets a little too much for me. And sometimes he's like Psychic Warfare or so, Psychotic Warfare. I think that's another album that they have too. That it's pretty catchy on sometimes, but sometimes it go a little too much for me. But the Book of Bad Decisions is a straight rock album, just a little heavier, but it's catchy, man. Great riffs as well. So
nice.
Kind of still go back and listen to that one every once in a while, man. I don't mind that one. So that's making my list.
All right. What about that 22nd pick?
Keeping it close to home here, man. I got Big Rex Ghost is the album.
I know the band.
Yeah. This album is like if you don't know Big Rec, and I wouldn't be surprised if you don't, but if you listen to Big Rec, you'll have they've been around for 30 years. And you're going to get the Chris Cornell vibes when you hear him sing, Ian Thornley sing, Toronto boy, actually. But Berkeley Tot, these guys are great musicians, man. And I think he's one of the most underrated guitar players in rock. I really, really do. The guy is smooth. I think the bass player got more talent than half the guys out there right on anything else. But just listen to this album, man. I think you'll respect the musicianship behind it, and it's catchy. It's a good rock album, man. This is good music.
All right. Big Wreck. I do know. I think you've given me one of their albums to listen to. And,
yeah, I did.
And they did have a big hit in the 90s as well. The song escapes me at the moment, but I remember charting. Huh?
The Oath.
Oh, that's it. There you go. Yeah, I remember it now. Yeah. All right, Sam, 23rd overall pick is yours.
All right, I've got to go with my guys here. This was the album that kind of got me into their deeper cuts. Even though it was a new album for them at the time, it took me back. It was the reunion album for the Monkees in 2016, their album Good Times. At that point, you had all of them except for Davey were still alive, but they had an old recording of Davey doing a Neil Diamond song that they put new instrumentation on, produced by Adam Schlesinger of Fountains of Wayne. A lot of these songs were co-written by newer artists like Andy Partridge, Noel Gallagher, Rivers Cuomo, Ben Gibbard from Death Cab for Cutie. And then they had like old stuff from Carole King and Jerry Goff and that kind of stuff too. So it was a good mix. And it was really great to see Mike and Mickey and Peter back together again for the first time since the early 90s. So Good Times for me. It's a great album.
Excellent. All right. I knew you were a Monkees fan.
Oh, yeah.
All right, see, 24th overall pick. We're in the end of the eighth round. I think here I'm going to go ahead and take a deeper understanding by War on Drugs. I've given Sam one of their albums to listen to. That was Lost in a Dream. Deeper Understanding is my favorite album by them. I think I've given that to Randy Nelson as a swap one time, and he really enjoyed it as well. If you like, kind of their songs are a little long. Sam can attest to this for sure. Some tracks are like, 4 or 5 tracks are like 10 minutes long or something, but very, airy, atmospheric type of stuff. Adam Grindasel, he does almost plays every instrument on the album, except for maybe a few things. He used to early on used to have Kurt Weill in the band, so they would share some of those duties. But now Adam takes most of it on himself. So, but A Deeper Understanding, it's actually in Rolling Stone's top 100 albums for the 2010s at number 100. So they barely squeezed in, but they made it. So
barely.
And in the 9th round, I guess I'm gonna go ahead, take my heat for taking a hip hop album, but I got to take the best, what is considered the best hip hop album of all time ever, and it's like Rate Your Music, it's number 2 overall as the best album of all time. It's really weird that it would be ranked that high, but I got To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar. He's definitely the quintessential rap artist, of the 21st century. Everybody's been compared to him since he started making records, and the bar is really, really high. He had a new album, GNX, and he performed at the halftime ceremony of the Super Bowl recently. So Had to take it. You know, it's considered one of the greater albums, and it's an album I don't mind. It's a concept album. It's very good. We're back to Sam in the ninth round.
All right, number 9. I've got to take my guys, the Avett Brothers. They have several albums that came out in the 2010s, but I'm going to pick the Once and Future Carpenter. Excuse me, it's called the Carpenter from 2012. And again, they were full on with Rick Rubin producing, but it's got some good stuff on here like February 7, Down with the Shine. A Father's First Spring is a really pretty song about early fatherhood. Just a really, really good album. They've really honed in their songwriting at this point and are, all in. At this point, they're playing arenas. So they've kind of hit where they currently are now. The Carpenter from 2012.
They are amazing. They're an amazing sounding band.
Yeah.
And they usually get a lot of their songs on the first take when they're recording them in the studio. They're that good.
Yeah. I've seen them in 3 weeks, I think.
Yeah. They've worked it out. That's for sure. They know how to make it. So, Doc, your last 2 picks, buddy. What do you take?
I was going to pick a live album, just so you know, and I was really close to dropping Rush Time Machine in here, but I'll stick with just Rex. So, I guess my number 9, I'm going to go with the Who from 2019. It was great to hear original stuff from the Who, and it really showed that Townsend had. When I first heard Ball and Chain when this album came out, I thought, man, they didn't miss a beat, man. I don't know, Townsend is just something special, and Daltrey sounds fantastic, and it was great to hear the Who again, kind of thing. It's compilations and pick shows, live shows, that kind of stuff. The Who's the Who, man. They're one of my favorites, and like I said, I could have put a Rush album in here for a live one, but I'm going to stick to something that's original and came out in that decade, and I like it. I still like it a lot, actually. So
all right, I'll check it out. I got to check that out too.
Yeah.
I've been putting little stars. I got 3 of them so far. So, all right, Doc, what's the last one, bud?
So COVID did a lot of things, right? COVID, it happens. Whenever you get a chance to, you're off for like 3.5 years, man. I'm going to listen to some tunes and stuff like that. And this one, I think, Brian, I've talked about this album with you before, but I've got Keen's Cause and Effect as my number 10.
Yeah, it's good.
And there's just something melodic and catchy about it. And maybe it was the timing, maybe it was the timing of your life, and COVID's happening, and who knows what's going on in life. There's a certain sound. I like their previous albums, songs. I would cherry pick it. This album's an easy listen, man. It's a good listen. These guys are pretty slick, man. He's got a great voice. Right? Got a great voice.
Nice.
And if you haven't heard it, it may or may not be in your wheelhouse. I'm not going to say it is. It's not a rock album or anything else like that. It's more like a popish album. No. But they've also got one of the best live renditions of Under Pressure you're going to hear in your life too. So these guys are talented, man. I think if it's in your wheelhouse, you give it a shot. I think it's worth a listen, and you might like it, because I really do, actually.
All right. Sam,
Yeah,
last pick for you.
All right. Well, it's between 2, and it's a tough one because these are both great albums. But in terms of how the album flows and just all around great songs, I've got to go with 2012, which that seems to be my year for the 2010s. In 2012, the Beach Boys, That's Why God Made the Radio. So I've got 2 of these classic bands that have their reunion albums, both for their 50th, the Monkees in 2016, Beach Boys in 2012. This is great. I mean, this is the Beach Boys. It's the current Beach Boys that are still living, with original guys, Brian Wilson, Mike Love, Al Jardine, David Marks, and then Bruce Johnston. And then they have, a combination of Mike's band and Brian's band playing on it. And Brian Wilson, the second side of that album is stuff that's on par with stuff that he was doing for, like Summer Days and Summer Nights, some Pet Soundsy kind of sounds with he did like a suite at the end, all about like the Pacific Coast. The song Summer's Gone is just a beautiful final Beach Boys track. very simple lyrics, but just the production, the orchestration are just beautiful. Check out the song "Summer's Gone." It's very, very poignant. Absolutely love that album from 2012. That's why God made the radio.
Wow. All right.
Cool.
Another star I had to put down there. All right.
Stars everywhere.
I tell you, it's going to be a busy weekend. I get the last pick, and I've got 3 albums that I still didn't pick. So, I mean, this one really stinks that I got to leave them off there. But I'll talk about them in the honorable mentions. I guess I'm going to go ahead and take. I don't know. You guys probably not heard of this guy, but he's a neo soul artist, Michael Kiwanuka. He has a couple albums out before this one. This one's actually self-titled, just called Kiwanuka, and it's just incredible. I mean, it's got a song called "I've Been Dazed" on there, and then "The Solid Ground" is on here. Just incredible neo soul sound. This guy's got an incredible soulful voice. Reminded me of it would be like a modern day Bill Withers. That's how great I think his voice is, and it really spoke to me. I mean, it got recommended to me by a third party, and I listened to it, and then I had to run his discography after that. So if you get a chance, check out Michael Kiwanuka's self-titled album. It is incredible. And
that's funny. Just you said his name. I just pulled that up because I was like, how do I know that name? But that guy Seth Walker, who I just interviewed,
right?
His latest album, he covers one of his songs, the song "I'm Getting Ready."
Oh wow, excellent!
And it's my favorite song on the album. So I've never heard that guy until 3 weeks ago, and here you are talking about him.
Yeah, he's amazing. You got to check out that album. It's really beautiful, beautiful stuff. So, and the ones I didn't take, and the 2 right off of the bat I didn't take Carrie and Lowell from Sufjan Stevens, which I think is another beautiful album. Another album that kind of deals with mourning. I didn't take Red from Taylor Swift. Believe it or not, I think it's an amazingly well produced album and some really great songwriting on there by her and several other different people. I actually thought it was one that kind of got pushed to the wayside. And I'll go ahead and give a little bit of a shout out to the crazy guy, Kanye West, and his My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy album. It is a pinnacle, a hip hop album. I know there was some argument about if it's the best of the 2010s for him, but it clearly is. He just went crazy,
Yeah.
Can't help it. Any honorable mentions, Doc?
Oh, mine were going to be probably just in my sweet spots. I still had Mojo written down for Petty.
Oh yeah.
As what I was thinking about. Blue and Lonesome from the Stones, the cover album that they did of their old blues stuff. The Stones singing blues. It's fantastic, man. That's all I can tell you. That's root driven there, man. That's early 60s sound in 2000 and whatever, 19 or 18, whenever it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And another big rec album that I really like, But for the Sun, that came out after. It's also a 2019 album. I have a little soft spot for big rec up here, man. But go listen to them down there. You might like it.
All right. Sam, what about you?
I had another Avett Brothers, Magpie and the Dandelion from 2013. Mm-hmm. I had Tempest by Dylan from 2012.
Yeah, I had that down.
I had The Muse by the Wood Brothers, 2013. Greetings from the Neon Frontier by the Wild Feathers, one of my favorite kind of harmony country rock groups. And then another Head in the Heart called Living Mirage, which was their last album of the 2010s, kind of a more poppy flair to their original stuff, but still has some catchy stuff.
I was going to say a little shout out to Brian there for, not moving off your pegs there, buddy. You took Kendrick Lamar, man. A lot of people out there in the land.
I
watch these things. Don't go down that road. I don't go down that road. I don't know who does, but good for you for sticking to your guns, man.
I mean, I have appreciation for all different types of music, and so I think there's good and bad representations of every genre. I'll be the first to admit it. I mean, I don't like all of every particular genre, but I think he definitely deserves the props he gets. So I want to thank you guys for doing this whole.
You got a 6-lane highway, buddy. We got a 3-lane.
I appreciate you guys doing this series with me. It's especially in these last 2 decades. I know it's a little tougher, because it's as we get older. Sam, maybe not you, but as Doc and I get older, it's a little harder for us to broaden our horizons. We want to keep trying to narrow our scope, as we get older.
find the love where you can.
Yeah, you got to do what you can, though. And I appreciate you guys joining me for this. All right.
Thanks,
It's
Brian.
fun.
Please,
Yeah.
everybody, please sub Americana Sam's channel and check him out. Some really great material on there. Also, like, sub, and comment down below. Give us your top 10 albums. You don't have to you don't even have to compete against us. Think about that. You just get to pick the 10 albums that you want. So enjoy it all. And thanks for joining us for the series. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Peace out.
Thank you.